2029 and some class of 2030. My name is Olympia Duhart, and I am the Dean of Nova Southeastern University's Shepard College of Law. It is my absolute privilege to stand before you this evening as your Dean. Congratulations. Congratulations on starting your legal career. To set the bar high, we're incredibly honored to welcome our 2026 Distinguished Alumni Speaker to share some remarks with you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Robert W. Bob Kelley. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. If I went through his entire career, we would be here all night. But I want you to later look him up. He is worth a Google. And we are so excited that he is elected to join us tonight to give you some encouragement as you start this really challenging journey. About Mr. Kelley. He is a nationally known trial lawyer based here in Fort Lauderdale, and he is a 1981 graduate of NSU Law, where he served as editor-in-chief of Nova Law Review. In June, he was inducted into the Broward County Bar Association Hall of Fame. He has been recognized by NSU with this Distinguished Alumni Award. He has been lead counsel in more than 100 jury trials across the United States. He has tried cases in state court and federal court from Key West to California. And as a result of the verdicts he has won for his clients, he has been selected by Lawyers USA as one of the top 10 lawyers in the United States, and by the Daily Business Review as the most effective personal injury lawyer in South Florida. Mr. Kelley attained national prominence as a trial lawyer in 1999 as a result of a verdict he obtained after a 6-month jury trial against General Motors. That trial, which received media coverage around the world, became the subject of a segment on CBS 60 Minutes and exposed a massive corporate cover-up involving long-hidden GM documents. The trial resulted in a $90 million verdict, which became the largest personal injury wrongful death judgment ever paid by the automaker. It is also the subject of a best-selling book authored by Mr. Kelley, The Memorandum. His book obtained #1 bestseller status in several categories on both Amazon and Kindle within its very first week of publication. And 10 years later, in 2009, he won a trailblazing $300 million verdict against the cigarette company Philip Morris, which was the largest product liability verdict in the United States that year. That launched a new wave of litigation against the cigarette industry, which up to that time had appeared to be invulnerable to suit due to its immense wealth and scorched earth litigation tactics. Since that time, he and his firm, Kelley Uustal, have continued their battles against this deadly product and its manufacturers in courtrooms across the country. Over the course of his career, Mr. Kelley has been selected and continuously included in publications including Best Lawyers in America, Florida Super Lawyers, and South Florida's Best Lawyers. He has been a frequent lecturer on trial practice and jury selection in Florida and across the country. He has taught as an adjunct professor here at NSU, where he once served on the law school's former Board of Governors, which has now been renamed the Board of Advisors. He is an AV-rated attorney by the Martindale-Hubbell Law Directory, its highest rating for legal ability and ethical standards. In addition to his book, he has published articles in the Florida Bar Journal, the Journal of Florida Justice Association, the Nova Law Review, and the International Information Bulletin on Variable Stars. He was a founding donor of the Kelley Boathouse at Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale, and he worked his way through school on commercial fishing boats. He is a PADI certified rescue diver and a dive master. In 2011, he founded the Dive Bar, which is exactly what it sounds like, an underwater bar association consisting of scuba certified lawyers and other legal professionals who are dedicated to preserving the coral reefs and marine environment of the Florida Keys and of the Bahamas. Dive Bar partnered with the NSU Oceanographic Center several years ago to transplant staghorn coral and create an experimental reef off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. That reef, Dive Bar Reef, is still thriving today. Mr. Kelley and his law firm, Kelley Uustal, engage in a wide variety of activities dedicated to making a difference in the community and in people's lives. He has been the mentor and role model for many young lawyers in South Florida, including Eric Rosen, who was his trial associate in several major trials, and who is a benefactor and sponsor of the Eric S. Rosen Trial Advocacy Courtroom and the Rosen Injury Law Cafe. You will no doubt use many, many times throughout this semester. Eric Rosen is also an NSU Law alum. Mr. Kelley is married, and he and his wife, Carrie, have 6 children. His youngest daughter, Colleen, is a public defender in Colorado now. Colleen is currently trying her first homicide case and will deliver her opening statement tomorrow afternoon to a jury in Denver. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Mr. Bob Kelley.
How y'all doing? Let's try that again. How are you all doing? Are you excited to be here? You should be. Come on. Let me rephrase that just a little bit. Are you ready for law school? Yeah. Are you ready for the most stressful and anxiety-ridden year of your life? Yeah. Let's hear it for stress and anxiety, okay? That's right. Before I go any further, I'd like to learn a little bit about you all because I like to know who I'm talking to. And so I'm going to start this the way I would start a trial, talking to a jury, because they don't know me and I don't know them. And what I usually do is start off with a series of questions, with the easiest questions first, and I ask for them to raise their hands, show of hands. Because most people are okay with raising their hands. Most people are not okay with speaking in front of strangers. So that makes it easy to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to start doing the same thing with you, so you'll know a little bit about me. You've already heard, and I'll know a little bit about you. I got an idea just looking at you. It's a good-looking group. You're all dressed up. You're ready to be lawyers. I can see that. So let me start this like I would with the easy questions. By a show of hands here, I think there's about 250 people here. How many of you, just raise your hands, are from the state of Florida? How many people live here in Florida? Okay, it's pretty good number. Okay, put your hands down. Other question, obviously the follow-up question, how many of you are from outside the state of Florida? Live outside the state of Florida? Put your hands up higher so I can see. Yeah, we got quite a few people here too. So welcome to South Florida. It's beautiful here, as you can see already. Great place to be. So I know a little bit about you right off the bat. Then, as we go through jury selection, the questions get a little more difficult, a little more interesting. So let me ask my next question, which would be, by show of hands, once again, how many of you are going to graduate in the top 10% of your class? Put your hands up. Let's see. Oh, look at it. Okay, that's what I like to see. Look, put them up. Come on, put them up. You're going to graduate. All right, everyone who didn't put your hand up, look around, keep your hands up. This is who you want in your study group, okay? Pick one of these people to be in your study group first year, okay? Another question, show of hands. How many of you plan to be in the bottom half, the bottom 10% of your graduating class? Put your hands up. Come on. Nobody is a slacker? Nobody's planning on that. Okay, I didn't think so. But that kind of reminds me of an old trial lawyer joke, which you may have heard. Let me ask you this question. What do you call a person who graduates at the very, very bottom of their class in medical school? The very bottom, worst grades of everyone. What do you call that person? Doctor. Doctor, exactly. That's right. You call him doctor. That's why you always get a second opinion, okay? If it's something significant for you or a family member, and that's what keeps malpractice lawyers in business. Couple more questions here. Show of hands. Who is going to be the editor-in-chief of the Law Review? Somebody's going to be it. Nobody? There we go, right here. Good man. Anybody else want to be it, or are you just going to get it by default? Oh, we got a couple more people. Okay. Listen, I was the editor-in-chief. Let me tell you something. It don't get you an interview anywhere. Okay? When you graduate, if that's on your resume, any law firm anywhere is going to interview the editor-in-chief of the Law Review. So it's worth striving for. Another question. Show of hands. Who here is going to be the valedictorian of this class? Graduate first in the class. Look at that. Okay, good. Again, pay attention to these people. Get them in your study group. That's another thing that's going to absolutely get you an interview at any law firm or with any judge anywhere. If you can put on your resume that you were first in your class, you're at least getting an interview. All right, so work for it. Do it. Before I continue with this, I want to say something that the dean said, and I mean this sincerely. Congratulations, right? This was not easy to get here today. You guys worked hard. 4 years of college, you managed to somehow get through it, wrap it up, get that degree, then go out and take that LSAT, tough test designed to make you sweat, right? Then get a bunch of people to write letters on your behalf to NOVA why they should accept you as a law student, and then write your essays and rewrite your essays about why you should be accepted and why you should come to this law school. So you've all been through a lot, and you really, at this point, you can just stop really if you want to. But at this point, congratulations, you are here, you have arrived. And as the dean said, you are about to start a journey that's going to be one of the most exciting times of your life when you look back on it. So get ready for a ride. It is a lot of work, but it's well worth it. I was once in your seat, and I was talking to my wife, she's in the back of the room. Yesterday, we were sitting outside, and I was trying to remember what it felt like to be in your seat when I was in that seat back in 1978. We weren't here in this beautiful fancy building. We were in this area, but there was trailers out here. The law school was a bunch of trailers back then. And so I was here, and I vaguely remember what the guy said. I just couldn't wait for him to shut up so I could go ahead and get on. I probably wanted to go out drinking with friends that night or something. I'm sure you guys don't do that anymore. But this is what it was, okay? And so when I started law school, it was trailers for us. That's what NOVA was back then. It was a brand new law school. And in my second and third year of law school, we moved to a building that's near downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's still there. I drove by it yesterday to see if it's still there. But anyway, when I did this, we didn't have all this stuff that you guys have. Like, you have this unbelievable building. This place is spectacular when I pulled in here today. You got so much going for it. You've got a network of alumni, judges, lawyers, and politicians, and other people that have been to this school and that are welcoming of NOVA graduates in this area. So you really have a lot going for you at NOVA here these days. And I'm excited for you. I really am. I said to my wife when I was back there, I said, you know what, I should start teaching or doing something out here because it looks like a lot of fun. I think you guys are going to have a good time. So I've been through what you're about to go through here. And as the dean said, I have spent literally the last 45 years since I was graduated from here, pretty much in court. And running my own law firm with my genius law partner, John Uustal, who maybe one of these days you'll have an opportunity to meet. He's getting ready to publish a book, which is going to be much better than mine. He's been working on it for years. It's about to come out about corporate America and what goes on in these big companies across the country. But that's what I've been doing for 45 years. And as the dean said, I've tried cases everywhere. I've tried them from Key West to LA. I have tried them, in almost every state, in state court, federal court, and I got to tell you, it's been a ball. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of work. I lost my hair somewhere along the way, but I don't really need it that much anymore anyway at my age, so I don't really care. But it's been a great ride, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Really, it's been such a great career. So, I had to figure out what I was going to say to you guys, right? And it could go on forever. When you're an old guy like me that's been in the court for 45 years, I got so many things I could tell you about what's coming and tips and advice and things that I think you should do and shouldn't do along the way. But we've only got a couple of minutes here. So I was trying to figure out what could I narrow down to just a couple of things, just a couple of tips that I could give you that you might remember, because you probably heard the saying, it's much better to give a speech that someone can remember than one that they have to endure. So I'm going to try and make it quick and just give you a couple of points on things that I think are important. First is this: do something you love, right? Some of you are here because your parents want you to be here. I know that, all right? You're pressured to be here. And if at the end of the day, this is not for you, get out of here. I remember my first year of law school, Professor Rohr, who I ended up really liking a lot, taught civil procedure. He said in the first day of class, a lot of you are not going to make it through this class. You're here because your parents want you here. And it was true. They didn't make it. At the end, they flunked out. They didn't flunk out, but they left because they were unhappy. So my first advice to you is do something that you love to do. You know why? Life is short. Okay, life is short. You're going to be my age. You're going to be up here before you know it. If you're lucky, you'll be here before you know it. It goes by so quickly. So, when I started law school, I wasn't even sure. Maybe some of you feel this way. I wasn't even sure I wanted to be a lawyer. Just wasn't even sure. I was working on fishing boats, and I got into law school because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I figured, worst case scenario, I could go back to working on boats and working on this novel about a giant shark that I wanted to write. But as it turns out, Peter Benchley beat me to the book, and it turned out I was really good at this. Okay, I didn't know I would be, but I did. I kind of breezed through law school, got great grades, and then I became a lawyer, and it was a ball. I had a good time because you know why? I loved what I was doing. I really loved what I was doing, and I still do. I tell you truly, every morning when I wake up and put my feet on the ground as a trial lawyer, I cannot wait to get to the office. I cannot wait to see what adventure lies ahead, what new client came in, what new injustice has been inflicted on somebody in our community. I recommend everybody here be a trial lawyer. You're not all going to be trial lawyers. Some of you are going to be tax lawyers, which is a good thing, by the way. I wish I'd have paid more attention to that in law school. Tax lawyers, security lawyers, there's still real estate. There's so many things you can do. But trial lawyer for me, that's kind of what I wanted to be from the beginning, and that's where I ended up. And I've had a great time doing it. I've never really considered this a job, as I say, because I love doing it. I can't believe I actually got paid to do this. And by the way, the money's been great, okay? I never did it for the money. And all I ever did, I learned this from a guy named Shelley Schlesinger, who was the first really great trial lawyer I ever worked for. And he said, Kelley, just do a great job for the clients and the money will come. And he was right. That's all you do. I did the best I could for everybody I ever represented. And then the money came. So if you're in this for the money, you're making a mistake. Go next door to the business school, okay? Because you're making a lot more money as a businessman than you ever will as a lawyer. But if you're in this for the right reasons, then you're going to really have lived a life at the end of your career that you're going to be grateful that you had an opportunity to do. Second, this ties into what I just said. Never forget that the law is a profession, not a business. But before you make that decision, lawyer or business school, consider this. Somewhere out there right now is a person who's going to need a lawyer in the future. And who doesn't know yet that it's going to be you? Maybe it's someone that's about to lose their freedom, or their home, or their child, or their life savings. They are going to walk into an office frightened and out of their depth, and they're going to look across the desk at you and ask you to stand between them and something terrible. And that's what this is all about. It's not the grades, although they're good. It's important. It's not the rankings, it's not the prestige, and it's especially not the money. This is a profession. You're going to take the oath of professionalism after this, I think. Committed to helping others and to leaving this planet, hopefully, a better place. Everything you learn here is in service of that moment when a real human being on the worst day of their life needs someone who knows what they're doing and who will fight for them. You can be that champion. You can be that person for them that makes a difference in their lives. So, I've had a lot of great teachers and mentors who have helped me along the way. Other than my dad, who was a preacher and who was my most significant role model, the next probably most important mentor, maybe Shelley Schlesinger, who I worked for a long time, but the most important mentor in my life was a guy by the name of Stanley Prizer, a lawyer named Stanley Prizer, who I met right here when I was a student at NSU. At the time, you probably never heard of him, right? Anyone ever heard of Stanley Prizer? No. But at the time, back when I was in law school, he was at the peak of his career. I'll never forget him. He was a little short, tough guy. Walked around like this, dressed perfectly, short haircut, very military-like trial lawyer from West Virginia. And he flew in every Wednesday night to the university in his own private jet and taught a class called Trial Tactics and Strategies. And every week, he would fly in one of his well-known buddies from across the country to teach the class with him. Someone who is really well known in a specific area, like jury selection or opening statement or cross-examination or directed, whatever it was. Someone who was well known and highly regarded in that specific part of the trial to teach us. And it was an incredible class. I'll never forget Stanley, okay? I mean, to this day, he just made such an impression on me. As I said, he would do that every Wednesday night. And on the last, and he did, no charge, by the way, no charge to the university at all. He flew in, paid for the jet fuel himself, brought in all these well-known lawyers, and taught us for free for that whole semester. And on the last night of the last class, he read to us this passage that I'm going to read to you, that was written by another trial lawyer by the name of Theodore Koskoff, who at the time or before that was the president of the Association of Trial Lawyers of America. And this passage has been my inspiration throughout my career. It's about our heritage as lawyers. And so I want to take a minute before I sit down. If you guys have a minute or two left, and I want to read it to you. I saw him long ago, a Philadelphian in New York, the Philadelphia lawyer at the nation's first political trial, upholding John Peter Zinger's right to publish what he chose, free from censorship or interference. His name was Andrew Hamilton, and he was a lawyer. I saw him at the trial of Captain Thomas Preston, another political trial, the unpopular cause arising out of the Boston Massacre. His name was John Adams, and he was a lawyer. I saw him at the Miracle in Philadelphia, the Constitutional Convention of 1787, fighting for the Bill of Rights, the credo of American freedom. His name was James Madison, and he was a lawyer. I saw him presiding over the Supreme Court of the land, the architect of the real powers of the Supreme Court. His name was John Marshall, and he was a lawyer. I saw him exhorting the battle cry of the Republic, "Give me liberty or give me death." You know his name, Patrick Henry, and he was a lawyer. I saw him at Gettysburg with tears in his eyes, gaunt and morose, rededicating our country to the principle of equal justice for all. His name, Abraham Lincoln, and he was a lawyer. I saw him, elemental man, fighting for one cause or another in Dayton, Tennessee, preaching the legitimacy of evolution at the Scopes monkey trial. His name was Clarence Darrow, and he was a lawyer. I saw him speaking to us from his wheelchair, lifting our spirits, making us stronger with his inspirational philosophy. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. His name was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he was a lawyer. And I saw her, reminding us that women belong in all places where decisions are being made, as she donned her black robes and took her seat on the Supreme Court of the United States. Her name was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she was a lawyer. And I thought of the precious monuments that they had left to their lives, and I wondered what kind of monuments you and I will leave for the next generation of lawyers. Not monuments of brick and mortar, but monuments that will live. For only our thoughts and our deeds and our actions live on. And finally, I thought of the marvelous admonishment of Oliver Wendell Holmes, when over 100 years ago he wrote, "I think that as life is action and passion, it is required of us that we should share in the passion and action of our time at the peril of being judged not to have lived at all. And so, class of 2029, before I sit down, if you will indulge me, I would ask all of you to just pause for a moment and look around your table. Look at your fellow classmates. Yeah, look at each other, okay? And remember, on that day in the not too distant future, when you are finally sworn in as members of this honorable profession, that you will remember your lineage and the great lawyers and leaders who came before you, and never forget who we are and what we stand for. We are strong. We are the champions of justice. We are the guardians of this democracy, and we are needed now more than ever. May you all always rise to the challenge and stay true to our calling of freedom and justice for all. Welcome to the law. Welcome to NSU. I could not be prouder to call you my fellow alumni in waiting. Now, go do something great. Thank you.
Okay, you were not supposed to make me cry at orientation. Let's thank Mr. Kelley again for that amazing speech. And on behalf of the entire NSU Law community, including our new community, these new 2026 orientation 1Ls, it's my honor to present you with the NSU Law Distinguished Alumni Award. This is the prize.
Oh, for me? Wow, thank you.
I'll take a picture.
Okay. It just means you're old. That's it. Thanks.